Welcome to our presentation about Radboud University. This is the nice little webinar that we're doing, and I brought two students with me. There you go. We'll just introduce ourselves. My name is Chris Osman. I'm the International Marketing and Admissions Officer at the Faculty of Management.
Hi, I'm Clara. I am a bachelor's student in artificial intelligence, and I'm from New York.
Hi, I'm Becca. I'm a student in international business communications in the master's program, and I'm from Wisconsin.
And I'm from Missouri, so I'm quite sad because the Cardinals lost recently. So we'll just kind of go through that. So this is the Netherlands. This is where we're located. It's a good location about in the middle of Europe. It's very international. Everybody speaks English pretty much, and it's a very nice globalized country. And in particular, we're located in Nijmegen. And this is where Nijmegen's at. It's very green. It's about 120 kilometers from Amsterdam. It's on the east, so on the border of Germany. And like I said, it's known for being a very green city. So it's very sustainable. There's a lot of things going on here. It's a nice student town. And that's my question for you two. Did you guys hear about it before you applied or before you came to Radboud?
I hadn't heard of this city before, other than like when I was looking at colleges. But once I did like sort of narrow it down to this college, then I heard about the city, and it was very green, very international, pretty nice city.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of Nijmegen before. I actually came here on an exchange before I came here for my master's program. And when I was looking online, I remember looking at pictures of Nijmegen and thinking that it kind of looked like a pretty cool city. I guess it's known as like the rolling hills of the Netherlands. And since the Netherlands is pretty flat, I guess I was supposed to be impressed by the hills. I would say it's still pretty flat, but it's a beautiful place to live.
Yeah, it's also one of the oldest cities.
Yeah.
So that like there's a lot of weird historical like castles or whatever. Interesting history.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is the oldest city in the Netherlands, and you can definitely see it when you go into town. So let's talk a little bit about Radboud. So there are two types of universities in the Netherlands. One is what they call a research university, and the other one is a university of applied science. Radboud is a research university, and so basically students are going to get skills in research, statistics, and upon the program that you're going to do. And the main difference is that the University of Applied Sciences is really, usually an internship is mandatory in the program that you're doing. Some people argue it's a bit more practical in terms of the skills that you learn. And because if you want to go from a University of Applied Sciences to a master's program, sometimes they will require you to do a pre-master's. And I think, Becca, you're a current master's student, right?
Yes, I am, but I also did the pre-master's last year. I did the pre-master's here last year as well, and I'm in the Faculty of Arts here. And I think when I was applying, I didn't really know what the research university versus an applied sciences university was. I think maybe a lot of Americans wouldn't know the difference just like me, but I think the bridging program and the pre-master's is actually really helpful in the end because it helps me feel like I was on the same page as all my Dutch classmates.
All right.
I didn't know it before, like researching, but then basically no, I did not know the difference.
And did you have specific courses accepted into the program in high school?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of my program, artificial intelligence, I did need like a calculus class. Like I needed certain classes to get accepted into that program, and like a certain score on my SAT. But I think that was really program specific.
And we'll get into the admissions requirements later in the webinar, but it's just always good to, if you know the program that you're going to study, just go to the faculty's page and see if there are any additional requirements, basically. So what's also interesting to know about is that we have very much a campus. So it's a very green campus situated a little bit outside of Nijmegen. And we do have different facilities. One of those facilities is a Radboud Sports Center. They offer more than 70 sports. There's a discount for students. You can make use of it. And it's a really good facility. Do you guys make use of it at all?
I do. I like to hit the gym occasionally. There's lots of really cool, fun classes. So I think it's one of the things that I liked about my university for my bachelor's in the US is how nice the sports facilities was there. I think a lot of Americans at least like to follow sports or maybe are a little bit sporty, and the Dutch are really sporty. So they have a really nice facility for it.
And that's when I went to my university in the States, we also had a big sports center. So when I look at that, I'm actually quite reminded of the sports center. So it's quite good. These are our rankings. We have different rankings that we participate in, especially in Europe. One thing to know, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, is that within the Netherlands, Radboud University is rated as the best traditional university in the Netherlands. And in terms of our worldwide rankings, we are in the top 205 to 210. So we do have a pretty nice ranking. Because it's the traditional university, what that basically means is that we offer more than one subject. So Radboud comprises of 7 faculties. So dependent upon the program that you're interested in will be the faculty where you study. For example, we have the Faculty of Philosophy, Theology, Religious Studies, Faculty of Arts, Faculty of Law, Faculty of Social Sciences, Faculty of Science, and then I work at the Nijmegen School of Management, and we also have a Faculty of Medical Sciences. And you can do various research. So research is our focus at Radboud University. We have different research institutes. Some of the examples are the Donders Institute for Brain Cognition and Behavior. We have a high field magnet laboratory, which is pretty cool. We also have the Max Planck Institute for psycholinguistics. Are you guys familiar with any of these research institutions?
Yeah, a few of my professors actually are participants in the Donders Institute, and there's a few other ones that I Max Planck. So there's definitely like you definitely hear about it a lot.
Yeah, I would say there's lots of like really
Yeah.
cool things. You're always hearing about it on the news or
Yeah.
on campus. They're doing cool things, like you hear about frogs that they somehow levitated, or the way that they heat the buildings. I guess they store some of the air from the winter, from the winter to cool it in the summer, and vice versa for the winter to heat it up. It's really cool, top-notch facilities, and it has a really cool sciencey feel.
I think like even a few years ago, they won a Nobel Prize in something. So that's quite interesting if you want to look that up.
Mhm.
So we have different bachelor programs. The list that you see here, this is a list of our English-speaking bachelor programs. So all of these programs are in English. Like I said, they're participating in different faculties and whatnot. And Clara is actually a current bachelor student.
Yes, so I'm a bachelor student in artificial intelligence, which is a numerous fixes program. So I had to go through not only like the normal application, but also a later test that would qualify me to apply. But yeah, there's a lot of Dutch students in the program, but there's also a lot of international. So then you get to have focus like both with you get to have a friends group of Dutch people while also sort of broadening out and meeting people from all over the world. So that's really nice. And yeah, I'm a big fan of the study. Basically.
And how did you find the artificial intelligence program?
Well, I actually found Radboud because I was looking for artificial intelligence programs, and the one here is very interdisciplinary, and it goes through a lot of fields, like not only the technical things like computer science, but also linguistics and neuroscience, and a lot of cool things there.
And Clara made a good point. There are some programs that what they call numerous fixes, which means there are a limited amount of positions. Another example, I believe, is a psychology program that's also a numerous fixes program, and biology as well. So we also, of course, offer master's programs. And our master programs also vary between business and economics, computer science, humanities, communication science, things like that. And Becca is a current master's student.
Yes, I'm doing the Master's in International Business Communications. And I found this program because I was looking for something that incorporated my love for cultural communication and whatnot, as well as incorporating my love for Spanish, because I studied Spanish for my bachelor's in addition to communication studies. So I went to the master's open day and I heard some students talk. And I think it was one of the best choices I made. During the program, I have a really international classroom, a really small lectures. So you really dive into the material, so similar to what I felt in the universities in the US. And everyone who I've talked to who's an international master's student kind of said, like Clara said, you have a nice mix of Dutch friends and international friends. Yeah, so that's kind of my experience from the Faculty of Arts.
That's good. So really, when we talk about Radboud University, we really emphasize that it's a personal teaching style. So you're just not another number. We do encourage you to participate. It's generally in small seminars. You'll work in teams. It's very much an international class. And we do support you, so we do provide you with tutors, and we expect you to be personal and proactive. And of course, you have a study advisor. And this is pretty much in general with the Netherlands as well. This is a university that might differentiate itself from Germany, for instance, where a lot of times you just show up to a lecture and someone just speaks for about 45 minutes and that's it, or France with the same example, but we really do encourage you to participate. And so that's really my question for Claire and Becca. What's your experience like in the classroom? Is there interaction? Do you have a mix?
Yeah, so I've like encountered a lot of things where when first coming here, they give you like a lot of mentors. So I had like a mentor group for my orientation group and a mentor for my academic and professional skills group. So there's definitely a lot of support, at least in your first year. And then I also have a study advisor, which I could go to. And yeah, so like there's lectures, which sometimes can be a little bit larger, but then there's always smaller work groups, and professors do have office hours where you can go and ask them about things.
That's good.
I would say I had a pretty similar experience. Actually, when I first came here for my exchange, the Faculty of Arts has a buddy program. So they even paired me up with some Dutch students who also helped kind of be my mentors as I was adjusting to living life in the Netherlands. And now as a master's student, we have a study advisor just for international students, even in my department, which I think is like a really nice touch since our problems tend to be a little bit different than the Dutch students' problems. But the professors are really approachable as well. So anytime I've had an issue or a question, or I'm like, I just don't really understand, this is a little bit different than what I'm used to, they've been really receptive and easy and quick to answer things.
Yeah, so since you are probably located right now in the United States and Canada, because that's what the webinar is for, it is very comparable probably what you can expect from a lot of universities in the United States and Canada. There is that sense where not only are you a student here, but you do get the supports that you need in case something happens. So that's quite important for us. And because of that, we have different support services. So typically speaking, you're probably a non-EU student, so you do require a visa. We do offer that service for you. We apply for the visa on your behalf, basically. And we have different services that we offer before your arrival, upon your arrival, during your arrival, and of course after you graduate. And I think one of the most important things, of course, is housing. We do offer support services. Becca, do you currently live in one of the housing units that we offer? Or?
Yes, I live in an SSHN complex called Talia, which is right next to the train station. And for me, it was pretty easy to get. Like I just checked that I wanted assistance finding housing when I applied, and they sent me an email where I could sort of browse through the different complexes that they have here and choose which one I wanted, depending on like price and what commodities they have there. So it was pretty easy for me, but there are definitely some challenges that I've heard. But yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I started my first year here living in SSHN building as well. And for me, a big change from living in the United States at a university is that I actually had my own room, whereas in the US, you often have to share a room with a roommate. It was like my first time actually having my own space. So I would say that I found the SSHN housing a really nice opportunity. But then this year I had to find my own housing since you only get housing for your first year at university. I started looking early, and I think perhaps as a native English speaker, that gave me a little bit of an advantage in finding something pretty quickly. And I'm also pretty happy living in a student house now, but having seen both sides of the coin, I think there's lots of nice opportunities as long as you're proactive and looking ahead of time.
Yeah, that's a good, the Netherlands, it's a busy country, so we always do recommend for you to try to make that decision early on in the procedure, so that you do have a place to stay before you arrive. And it's good that we offer that service. And then, of course, when you do arrive, we do have a Schiphol pickup. So Schiphol is the airport that's located in Amsterdam. Usually that's where people fly into. And once you get off the plane and you go through customs, there is a student there to meet you, direct you to the train station so that everything goes very smoothly, so you can arrive in Nijmegen. And another thing that we offer, which is quite fun, is the orientation week. And that is one of the highlights before you basically start your studies. And Claire and Becca, what was the orientation week like for you guys?
Yeah, so my study program had a very comprehensive orientation week, and I basically arrived at like 7 a.m. the day of orientation week, so then I got the fun experience of trying to move into my housing while also participating in orientation week. So if you're making that decision, I would maybe suggest that you arrive like a day or two ahead of time, both to combat jet lag and also to try to set up your room before you have to like do things for a week straight. But it was also really fun because the transition was just very like intense. But then after the first week, I'm like, okay, I'm here. And I had a week after orientation week to sort of get set up before classes start. So that was also really
I would agree with what she said about it being intense. I think it feels like almost a year compressed into 1 week because you're doing so much. Actually, some of my friends and I talked about how it felt like we were on some sort of reality challenge or something because you're doing so many new fun things, and with all these people who are going through the same emotions as you, who are also probably jet lagged, but you're really getting to know your way around the city of Nijmegen as well as campus. You get your bike, so you really start feeling like you're jumping right into Dutch culture. I would definitely do the orientation week again if I could. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we highly recommend that you do participate in the orientation week. As Claire and Becca are saying, it's a good way to establish your network, get your feet wet, get to know the campus and the city, and of course meet friends. And so, like we said before, we do offer support during your studies. So you have access to advisors, mentors, tutors, and different various trainers. But then, of course, after you graduate, we do also help you with that. So we do have a career services center that does various things. We do have an active alumni community where people are able to stay in touch. And then as a non-EU student, once you graduate, you do have basically access to what they call an orientation year. This means that once you graduate from your program, you are able to work in the Netherlands for a year unrestricted. So that's also a nice way where they basically are able to encourage you to stay in the country, find a nice job, and then after that, your employer will be able to sponsor you. And I believe also with the EU orientation year, you can even activate it up to, I think it's 2 or 3 years after you graduate. And I think, Becca, you have experience with career, correct?
I do. So in my faculty, the Faculty of Arts Career Services actually has helped us to find internships in my program. So although I'm not out the door yet, so to speak, I already have experienced that they're willing to help you if you have a question with what does a European CV look like? What are employers here looking for in a motivation letter? They're really helpful and have been quick and responsive when I've had any questions, even about something that might seem small and insignificant. They're willing to take the time to make sure that you feel like ready to help achieve your professional goals.
And Clara, even though you just started
Yeah. I am interested in doing an internship, definitely. My program just hosted a lecture by the Career Services Department, so they actually they do keep in touch with you even when you're a first-year bachelor student and you're just not really thinking about that far in the future. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of like planning and thinking about the future and how what things you would like to do here with your studies.
Yeah, that's good. So then, of course, let's get into some interesting facts about expenses. These are the tuition rates that we offer. They are determined by whether or not you're a bachelor student or a master's student or an EU student or a non-EU student. If we're talking to our prospective students in the United States and Canada, and you do not have a dual nationality, you are subjected to the non-EU tuition rate. So we just encourage you to go to the website of your faculty or program that you're interested in order to get your specific tuition rate. Also, if you look at the bottom, you'll see that we do recommend living expenses per month to be about 900 euros. And I think that does include your housing as well as various expenses. And that is actually my question for Claire and Becca. How are your expenses on a monthly basis? Do you think 900 euros is an accurate indication, or?
Yeah, I'm trying to do math in my head. Yeah, I think that 900 is around what I'm paying. Like the SSHN complex that I'm staying in is around 470 euros per month, which is on the more expensive side, but I also get a lot of benefits because it's next to the train station, and I only have 4 other roommates, and I have like a full kitchen and everything. And then in terms of like groceries and other living expenses, I think that's maybe around like 300 or so per month. I'm doing the math right?
Yeah, I would say for me, it's been kind of a learning curve. I think it started out to be pretty expensive because I wasn't in tune with the Dutch style yet. I think you can definitely get it down if you're a budgeter like me. It takes some time, but now I would say I'm closer to like 800 euros a month, maybe 750 euros, depending on if it's a good month. So it's something that you can definitely work at if it's, I mean, saving money is nice, But don't be afraid to know that when you first get here, maybe you should budget a little bit extra money, because I think it is an adjustment. You never know what you forgot or what you might want to buy to help yourself feel a little bit more at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, just from my experience also living abroad, the Netherlands, it's not really cheap, but it's not really expensive either, like Scandinavia. But as Becca was saying, and also Claire, if you're able to budget, you can really hit that 900 euros a month. So with tuition rates, of course, we do assist you with scholarships. There are scholarships that we offer. We offer the Radboud Scholarship Program, the Holland Scholarship Program, the Orange Tulip Scholarship. There's program-specific scholarships that we offer. Typically, you probably aren't able to do a Dutch study grant or on the loan system if you don't have Dutch nationality. And the specific scholarships could also be nationality-based. So coming from the US or Canada, when you're looking at these scholarship opportunities, do make sure that you look carefully at the criteria and see if you're able to apply for it. We also offer the Fulbright Scholarship for Americans. So it's another additional opportunity that we have. And I think, Becca, do you have a scholarship?
I have the Holland Scholarship. So the Holland Scholarship is another one of the scholarships that you can get, and I think there's only like 3 nationalities that are eligible for it. So as someone from North America, I think you have a pretty good shot if you apply.
Yeah. And also, what you know too is that if you are an American, Radboud does not participate in the federal financial aid system. So when you're doing your budgeting, just keep that in mind if you're an American student. Also in order to help you out with various expenses, we do have different job opportunities on campus that you can work at. Typically, they could be faculty-based, service-based. As a non-EU student, you do require a work permit. However, we do assist you in the work permit. You can work a maximum of 16 hours per week. And all of this is facilitated through a campus organization called Campus Detached Charity. I think that's how you pronounce it.
So I joined the international Facebook group or something before coming here for admitted students. And there they, as we were getting closer to the beginning of the year, they posted a few job opportunities, which I applied for. So I'm currently working as an ambassador and also a vlogger. So I will be posting videos on the YouTube channel. So yeah, that's how I found the job. And they had an information seminar in the beginning of the semester, and I'm currently working on trying to get my work permit. But even before I get my work permit, I can still work and then just put in the hours later.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I also found my job on Facebook pretty much the same way. But when I've been looking for internships, and based on stories I've heard from other Americans and North Americans who are studying here, I know that if you go around to a lot of Dutch companies with like your CV or your resume and a good attitude, they're actually pretty impressed by that. So I do know a couple of my friends who found jobs like that. So even if you can't find something on campus, if you're prepared and you are excited to get out there, just take a shot. You never know what you might get.
Wow, that's good. So the next slide are the admission requirements. So they do differentiate a little bit between the bachelor's and master's. If you are a U.S. national or Canadian national, of course, you don't have to prove, you don't have to do an English test in order to prove your English capability. We are on the Dutch system, so we are looking for that equivalent Dutch degree. So whether it's a bachelor's program, it needs to be the equivalent of a Dutch VWO diploma, which is basically the university track that they go on. If you're doing a master's, it does have to be the equivalent of a Dutch bachelor's degree on a research university level. We talked a bit about that previously in the education. We do want to see courses related to research methods, statistics, quantitative and qualitative analysis, those sorts of things. But when you do go through the application procedure, you're always more than welcome to get in contact with your admissions officer in advance. And they'll do what they call an eligibility check, just to give you an idea of where you are. If there's anything more that you need to do. But of course, they will need to see any documentation that you have before they can give you a decision. So that's quite important. In terms of the application procedure, and that's a question for Clara and Becca as well. What was the application procedure for you guys like, being an American in the United States, doing this from overseas? What was it like for you?
Well, I am currently making a video on the applications procedure for specifically American students and for United States programs. But yeah, basically it starts with you submitting your application and then getting feedback on whether your education is of the same level, and that might mean that you get to go there, or it might mean that you qualify for the numerous fixed program, which happens like in April, I think. I don't know if it's any different for master's.
I think for at least for the Faculty of Arts, I wasn't in a numerous fixes program like Clara. I think what I didn't get until I started studying here is I think in the US you think like, well, they have so many spots, so they're going to fill that many spots, so it's like a competition. Whereas in the Netherlands, it's more like, are you a good fit for the program? It's not you against other people, it's kind of you against the requirements. So I was actually surprised at how simple the application was. I actually emailed in asking like, am I missing something? I don't feel like I attached enough documents, kind of overthinking it, but it's actually pretty easy, like step-by-step procedure. And at least in my experience, it was not as stressful as I really thought it would be.
Yeah, and I applied to a couple universities in the Netherlands, and each one of them have like their different sort of online application system. So like you apply in, or you like put in a request in study link, and then they eventually give you access to their OAS. And even though it's different for each university, it's like around the same format. So like I was able to just sort of upload the documents that I did one to another. And it was pretty straightforward, and most of it was I think all of it was in English. So yeah, easy.
That's good. And like I said, if you ever have any questions regarding the application procedure, even when you're in the middle of it, always please just ask us. Someone will always get back to you. We're very good at that. We do try to focus on that customer service approach. But of course, what we always recommend is that you apply early. And then if you look at the various deadlines, there are two for non-EU students. One is the scholarship deadline, which is the 1st of March of the following year of where you want to apply. And the other one is the 1st of April. That's your application deadline, basically. But being non-EU students outside of the Netherlands, we always, because of that, apply early. So then you're able to get a decision, and then you can really start making the preparations to make the big journey and to study Netherlands. So as we sort of wrap up this nice webinar, this is sort of why you should choose Radboud University. We're in the top 1% basically in the world. We are voted the best traditional research university in the Netherlands. We have a wide range of study options. So whatever you're interested in, we can probably find a program for you. The degree in the Netherlands is internationally recognized. We do have a personal approach to teaching. We do have wonderful services and facilities, such as that Radboud Sports Center. You can build a valuable network here. It's very international. It's good for international students, which allows you to have good career prospects. And when you study here, it's a green campus, which means it's sustainable and you're able to do good things for the environment. So that's it for us. Please, if you have any questions, do let us know in the webinar chat box. Thank you very much. And
Yeah,
bye.